Is your sack too small? Do you want to increase the size of your sack? Well, you've struck gold, friend. I've got the advice you need to obtain yourself a big old Krampus sack. What else did you think I was talking about, you weirdo? Firstly, I'd like to discuss the benefits of having a Krampus sack of your very own. The most obvious, and arguably the strongest benefit, is the fact that the Krampus sack has a massive 14 inventory slots. A standard backpack will have 8 slots. A piggyback will have 12, with a negative. Netting yourself one of these bad boys will enable you to carry far more resources to and from whatever task you decide to take upon yourself. The Krampus sack is 100% fireproof. There is no way for this backpack to catch fire under any circumstance. This is incredibly useful if you decide to take your backpack off during summer where it could potentially combust, next to a campfire, near an enemy that can burn it, anything really. This backpack will never fail you in this regard. Finally, the Krampus sack has 0 negatives associated with it. What do I mean by that? Well, unlike the piggyback, which has a comparable inventory size, the Krampus sack will not slow you down. You lose 20% movement speed using the piggyback in vanilla, and 10% movement speed in ROG. Using the Krampus sack will allow you to maintain maximum movement speed. The Krampus sack is also 100% waterproof, which will prevent any and all of your contents from becoming wet. This means you won't have to worry about tools slipping out of your hand, food rotting quicker, losing sanity, or fuel becoming less efficient, assuming you store them in there. Now that you have some knowledge as to why the Krampus sack is so powerful, let's move on to how you can obtain one of your very own. You'll need to understand the concept of naughtiness, not the lewd kind, but the kind you as a character obtain from killing creatures that are categorized as innocent. Here are a few creatures that are categorized as innocent. There are more, but chances are if it's a passive mob, it'll be worth a few naughtiness points. You'll notice that there are many creatures and they'll have different naughtiness values associated with them, so that will have an impact on how fast or slow you acquire naughtiness. After you kill enough of these creatures, you'll start to hear Krampus hissing, which is a warning that he'll spawn if you keep this up. This is good for you. Once you cross this naughtiness threshold, the hissing will stop and Krampus will spawn. Pay close attention as he isn't always immediately on screen. Something incredibly important to note when spawning a Krampus is your day count. Based upon your day count, you may have more than one Krampus spawn at a time. Before day 50, you'll spawn one Krampus. Anywhere from 2 to 3 Krampus spawns will occur after 50 days, and after day 100, you can have up to 4 spawn at once. So now that Krampus has appeared in your world, how do you deal with him? I will always suggest melee for killing Krampus. It's the fastest way and easily the most efficient method. It may require some practice to learn his kiting patterns and how to chase him down, but it's very much worth learning. I would also suggest wearing armor for this fight as a precaution since Krampus only has 200 health, but he can hit you for 50 points worth of damage. The first time you hit Krampus, you can generally get a few hits in as his angry animation plays and kill him before he can even hit back, assuming you're using a decent weapon. Doesn't get much easier, huh? Well, if you find yourself in a longer, more drawn-out fight, you'll want to move toward Krampus carefully, bait out his first swing, hit him, and repeat this attack pattern. Krampus swings very fast, so you may need some practice to pull this off correctly. But Volx, Krampus keeps running away from me and it makes him impossible to hit with a melee weapon. How do I melee him? Well, it's pretty straightforward if you know how to use Krampus' mechanics against him. Krampus has a special ability of stealing items. Yes, stealing items. Krampus will take items in your world, and after he's picked up enough, he'll leave and take them permanently. Use this to your advantage. Drop a rock, drop a twig, drop some grass, anything that is easily renewable will work as a distraction. Krampus will then focus onto this item and allow you to head him off for an easy kill. If you choose not to use an item to distract him, you could always throw a boomerang at his face, hit him with an ice staff, or any other ranged weapon really. That should get his attention. This is a lot of information to take in, I know, but these things are important to know before I get on to the next bit. The best methods of getting your naughtiness high enough to spawn in a Krampus of your very own. Efficient farming is important because unless RNGesus is your best friend, it will likely take you many attempts to get the Krampus sack. If you don't already know, brace yourself. The Krampus sack has a measly 1% chance of dropping on each kill. First up would be the bird farm. This method is tried and true, having been around since vanilla Don't Starve. There are 2 very key ingredients to making the most of this farm, grass turf and a feather hat. You want to use grass turf, making sure your entire screen is covered with it, since you'll experience much more common redbird and snowbird spawns. This is important because they are worth 2 naughtiness points per kill versus a crow which is only 1. A feather hat is also a big deal as it will increase the number and frequency of which birds spawn around you. Both of these things combined make for easy naughtiness points. Using a boomerang, you'll be able to pick off the birds as they land around you, not only farming up Krampus spawns, but scoring yourself some feathers and morsels to use later. Quite a nice deal if you ask me. A side note to those wicker bottom players here is to make use of your books. Birds of the World and Sleepytime Storage will do you wonders. Spawn birds in using Birds of the World and put them to sleep using Sleepytime Storage. Run around with a handbat, killing each one for some insanely fast naughtiness points. Next would be a butterfly farm. While definitely not as fast as using the bird farm method, this one is much more low cost. Simply plant a ton of butterflies in an area to make yourself a field of flowers and wait as new butterflies spawn. Run around with ideally a walking cane and smack them upside the head. Hold Ctrl F if you're having trouble hitting the butterflies. You'll get 1 naughtiness point for each kill, so it won't be long until Krampus comes a-knockin'. Do you have Shipwrecked installed? Have you linked your existing world to a vanilla or ROG world? Well, you're in luck. If you raise Doidois in Shipwreck and have a few extra Doidois that you can relocate, you'll want to take them to the other world. Why would you do that, you say? Well, if there are only 1 or 2 Doidois in existence in a world, and you decide to kill them, you're giving yourself 50 naughtiness points instantly, aka an instant Krampus spawn. This is an incredibly fast way to net yourself attempts at that amazing Krampus sack drop. If you have ROG installed, you're absolutely set. This unlocks the most efficient Krampus farming method of them all, Glommer. This lovable bug thing is insanely useful. Sure, you could kill him once every full moon and instantly spawn a Krampus in, but where's the fun in waiting 20 days for another one? This is where the Glommer glitch comes into play. Glitches may be a gray area for some people and they may not be willing to do this, but there are quite literally no downsides or anything to be scared about with this one. The way this glitch will work is straightforward. Here's a TLDR of it. A full moon will occur. Glommer will spawn. You will kill Glommer without, and this is the important part, picking up his flower, and then relog. After you load your world back up, Glommer will instantly respawn, Krampus will have spawned, and you can repeat this cycle anew. You can do this until your full moon runs out. This means you can trigger numerous Krampus spawns in an incredibly short amount of time. Before you go off and perform this strategy for your own, there's a few very important tips that you should hear. Krampus steals things, remember? If all of them ran away from you, made it to your base, would you be happy with them ransacking all of your loot? Probably not. This is where dummy items are going to shine. Near the Glommer statue, place down a rock or some other item that will never disappear, burn, or be consumed. Wall this item off using stone walls since they cannot burn down. You may wish to add a second ring of walls to ensure that no Krampus manages to push his way through the wall. This will cause every single Krampus that spawns to focus endlessly on the item and run in place. You won't have to worry about him running off stealing your things, and you can kill him at your leisure. Care to take the farm to the next level? Let me give you a slight introduction to fire farms. While a full tutorial would probably be in order for these, at least I can show you the basics. Using the previously mentioned strategy with dummy items and walls, you can then add grass walls, broken down to the most basic form, and ice flingamatics, to drastically increase your farming speed. All you need to do is let Krampus pile up around the walls, turn the flingamatics on, and burn the grass walls. Fire will spread rapidly and cause frequent damage ticks on Krampus. The flingamatics will then attempt to extinguish the fire, but the fire will keep going. The walls will not burn so long as the flingamatics are keeping up with the farm and resetting the timer on the flaming items. This will mass kill all the Krampus that are gathered around the walls. That's not even the best part. The best part is that none of your loot will burn, and you'll still be able to get yourself that Krampus sack. That's all she wrote, folks. Using the information I've provided you, you should now have a solid grasp on what makes the Krampus sack so great, how naughtiness works and is obtained, spawning Krampus, and of course, killing Krampus on your own. Hopefully you found this information useful and now have some confidence for when it comes to farming up Krampus by yourself. Remember, don't be discouraged if you don't get the Krampus sack to drop right away. That 1% chance is a real killer for all of us. Stay persistent and you'll have one for yourself sooner or later. If you guys enjoyed the tutorial, be sure to give me some feedback and feel free to suggest tutorial ideas for the future. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you next time.